Morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon for those joining us from over other countries in the world. Good morning. It's great to have you here. Please confirm you can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I can hear
thank
you.
you very much. I can see the thumbs up. Thank you very much.
I can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much. You're all welcome to the Power of Branding and Storytelling session. And you're also welcome. Welcome you. For those who don't know, this is ACT Foundation. You're welcome. And I'll be your host for today. My name is Temitope Oladunjoye. It's great to see your lovely faces here. Welcome, a big welcome to you, wherever you're joining us from Australia, from Canada, from Kaduna, from Lagos, from Benin, from Edo. It's great to have you. We are very expected that our facilitators are ready to give you the best. I'm very sure they're packed and loaded to give you the very best on branding and storytelling to help you improve the work you do and tell your stories in a refined way. Just to take us through the session, I will just take us through one or two ground rules so that we can have a soft landing. Please, as we are aware, we are in an online community. Please ensure you mute yourself when you're not speaking, so that we can hear ourselves clearly. Kindly ensure you mute yourself. Also, we know that once you don't mute yourself, there will be a lot of background noises and we won't be able to hear ourselves clearly and audibly. At a time during the session, would require you to put on your video. So for now, because of network issues, please kindly turn off your videos, except our facilitators. We love to see their faces by the time they come up. All right, please, during the session, we would love for you to use the raise hand feature when you have questions, you have a question, you have a contribution you want to make, please use the raise hand feature, the facilitator, or I would call you to speak. Also, we'll definitely have polls in the session. Please ensure that you help us answer those polls. It will help us to serve you better and make the experience more interesting and interactive. Also, please lastly, avoid too much tax so that you can get the very best from this session. And also, lastly, please ensure you are taking notes. You know that our brain can take little information within few seconds. So please, they say the pencil keeps the best memories. So please ensure that you are writing, taking notes to get the very best from this session. All right. To take us to the next session, just to welcome us into this session, I'll call our head of programs and grants, Igochukwu Nwosu. Igochukwu, you have the floor, please.
Okay. Welcome everyone. This is another exciting day for us to discuss with you change makers. Can we write in the chat box? Let's know where you are. Which city are you joining the session from? Can we just take like 30 seconds? Can you type in the chat box? Let's know where exactly you are coming from. Okay, so we have Lagos, Abuja, where else? Lagos, Abuja, Uganda, Nairobi, okay, Zambia, Port Harcourt, Cameroon, okay. Welcome, Borno, Maiduguri, wow, okay, interesting. Okay, Benue. Let's know a whole lot more of where everyone is joining from. I want to welcome you on behalf of our board, on behalf of my CEO and the rest of our team. I want to welcome you to one more exciting experience. This is one of the second in a row for this year to empower the non-profit actors in the social space. We're excited about all the work that you do across Africa. And as you know, it is committed to building the Africa social sector space. I mean, it shows in our grants, it shows in the things that we focus on. I also welcome our speakers. Thank you for accepting to join us today. We can see Suzette and Adaobi as well. Thank you. We look forward to an exciting day. You listen to Temitope. Let's try to keep the room very alive, and feel free to ask questions. Feel free to bring up more ideas as to what we're going to do after this. I wish all of us have a very eventful day. Thank you very much. Temitope.
All right. Thank you very much, Ugochukwu, for the warm welcome. All right, it's great to see we have a lot of people joining us from Maiduguri. It's great to have you here. All right. I'll just do one last thing before I pass the microphone to someone else. So please, can you drop in the chat room what are your expectations for this session? What do you hope to learn? Please kindly drop your expectations into the chat room. Okay, I'm waiting. What do you hope to learn? What do you look forward to in this session? Okay, I can see Victoria says that value as always. Thank you. She says guidelines for writing a compelling story. Definitely our facilitators are here. Okay, I can see Evelyn says storytelling skills. Okay, it's coming in. I can Zainab says writing stories from my experience. Yes. How to tell a compelling story. David says how to tell compelling stories. Marvelous says I hope to learn about the power of storytelling. Definitely you will. And Adaobi, okay, that's a facilitator. She says she looks forward to an interactive session. Yes, definitely. I'm very sure that our audience are ready to be as interactive as ever. I'm very sure our audience are very ready to have you here. How to write a compelling and impactful stories. I expect, okay, Elizabeth says, I expect to have increased knowledge and full understanding of storytelling techniques and how to tell stories from impact. Okay, definitely. Thank you all very much for dropping in your expectations. Okay, so remember I said we would have a few poll during the session. So I'll pass the microphone to Franca to take us on a poll. Franca, you have the floor, please.
Hi.
Franca, please confirm you can hear me.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. Franca, you're
okay.
Speaking.
So in this section, we'll be taking the poll. We have about 2 minutes for this section. We'd like to know, we'll be happy to hear from you, where you're joining us from. If you can see the questions, can you please confirm if you can see the questions from your end?
We can't see them.
Not yet.
Okay. We want to know where you're joining us from. We'd like to know your designation. If this is your first time joining our event, where you saw the training from, the flyer from to join. I would like to know some of those questions, and then we would like to know your expectation at the end of this training, some of the things you're looking forward to learning. So I can see that no one has filled yet, but I'm sure we are all filling the questions. We have just 2 minutes. Remember, we have just 2 minutes before this session is over. We'll be happy to see a number of people responding to this question. Okay, just 1 more minute remaining. Okay. We have 2 minutes left. Thanks to everyone who has participated. Okay, I can see that responses are coming up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have just few minutes. 1 more minute left. Few seconds. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Over to you, Temitope. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Franca, for that. Okay, please note that this session is available in other languages. If you are joining us from non-speaking English countries, please know that you can definitely listen in your other languages. All right, thank you very much, Franca, for the poll. All right, to take us through the next session, which we'll be talking about ACT Foundation. For those who don't know what ACT Foundation is all about, she'll be taking us through what ACT Foundation is. So I'll be passing the microphone over to Abiodun Owo. She's a senior program executive. Abiodun, you have the floor, please.
All right, thank you very much, Temitope. Good morning, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. We're so glad to have everyone around. Thank you for making our time to be here. It shows that you're truly interested in scaling your impact in whatever it is that you are doing in your various nonprofits. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
We can.
Yes.
Right. Next, please.
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Okay. All right, so in the next few minutes, I will be talking about ACT Foundation, what we do, just for those who are joining us for the first time. So ACT, full meaning is Aspire Coronation Trust. We are ACT Foundation, and we're a grant-making organization that was established in 2016, when a couple of people saw that there were a lot of challenges, there were a lot of problems going on in Africa, and we cannot continue to depend on foreign aid to solve our own problems. So they decided to start up this organization that will provide grants to nonprofits who are either here in Nigeria or who are in other countries in Africa. So we support local, we support national and regional nonprofits and social enterprises who are actually addressing challenges in their various communities across Africa. Next, please. All right, so at Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, we have one vision, which is to leverage relationships to create effective social impact solutions across Africa. You know what they say about if you want to go fast and if you want to go far. So because we do not directly implement projects by ourselves, what we do is definitely to leverage relationships of our partners. So our nonprofits across Nigeria in different focus areas, you'll soon hear about our focus areas. We partner with these organizations so that together we can create the long-lasting social impact solutions that we want to see across Africa. And of course, our vision, our mission is to build sustainable societies by engaging, these initiatives that unleash potentials and empower beneficiaries. Our focus areas are actually 4. We understand that, yes, the problems are huge, the challenges it's a myriad of them, but then we focus in 4 areas, which is the health, environment, entrepreneurship, and leadership. In the area of health, we also dive deep into maternal and child health issues, and we look at non-communicable diseases. In the area of environment, what we support has to do more with integrated waste management, access to safe water, and of course, climate action. We know that these problems are always coming up in the continent. In entrepreneurship, what we deal on is acquisition of vocal and digital skills. We know that these days you cannot, you can't do without having digital skills. In any field, you've got to have tech skills to help you scale your impact. And we also support financial literacy and inclusion, especially for those who are underserved. And in leadership, of course, we work on youth leadership, thought leadership, and national development. So at Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, what we do are the support that we provide to our partners is not without being mindful of the Sustainable Development Goals. You know that in the past years, we had the Millennium Development Goals, which for some reason or the other, of course, had its own challenges. And then came the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And so what we do is not in isolation of any of these development goals. So what we do in the area of health, in the area of environment, in entrepreneurship, or even in leadership are tied directly or indirectly to the Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, education is the bedrock of everything that we do. So at Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, like any organization, we have our core values. Those are things that we certainly do not joke about, and accountability is first amongst them. We also value partnership, which is why we always work with those who are closer to where the problem is so that we can scale our impact. We're also impact driven in everything that we do. We work beyond the numbers. We also work on quality of life that is achieved at the end of our interventions. And of course, excellence. Everything that we do, we want to do it excellently well. So those are our core values. So besides providing grants to nonprofits, like we had mentioned, Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation also provides other services. So capacity building, for example, is one thing that we hold in high esteem, which is why you're in this kind of capacity building session, because we understand that the ecosystem needs to continue to improve. We understand that there are gaps, there are challenges, and that is why we have put together trainings, which of course, this is one of them. Partnerships, I cannot overemphasize the fact that we work with partners in various capacities, either as capacity in training or in providing matching funding for our projects and so on and so forth. We also carry out research because what we have been doing in the past 5, 6, 7 years, we churn out a lot of information, we churn out a lot of data, and these can be used to inform decisions, to inform policies. And so we have produced research products which you can access on our website. And of course, thought leadership, we continue to pride ourselves, as leaders in this ecosystem. Yes, I guess we're having a network glitch. All right, so this is just to show us that we've been making some progress since we started our activities, our interventions in 2017, where we received just a little over 300 applications, and now we receive over 2,000 applications from different people around, from different organizations around the country and around the continent. So this happens from the third quarter of every year. We do our call for application, and we expect nonprofits who are interested in what we do to send in their applications. We also have our other special project, which we call the Changemakers Innovations Challenge, which is open also to nonprofits who this time around are actually using technology, using digital tools to solve problems in their communities. So Changemakers Innovation Challenge also opens sometime around mid-year. So if you are interested or know someone who is interested, you can, of course, apply for that. Just follow us on our social media and you'll know when the application is out. So remember, I was telling you about thought leadership. So we have a signature conference which we run every year, sometime around October every year. The Breakfast Dialogue. This is where we pull together speakers, leaders from the public, from the private and social sectors to come have insightful conversations about issues happening in Africa. We want to explore solutions. We want to have conversations. We want to know what is the way forward. How do we address the challenges that we have in Africa? And we've been doing that in the past 6 years, and another edition will also happen this year. So look out for that as well so that you can participate. We launched our nonprofit guidebooks in 2022, which was aimed at helping nonprofits who are, struggling with managing their nonprofits to know how exactly, to start, to measure their impacts and to operate, and of course, to evaluate their nonprofits. So that is available on Amazon. We'll drop the link shortly so that you can also place your order. Trust me, that book is very valuable. So like I mentioned earlier, we've also done a couple of research, in health, for example, in cancer, the use of digital tools. And the most recent one that we have is on gender mainstreaming. How do nonprofits infuse gender into, what they do from start to evaluation? So once you get to our website, visit our website, and then you will find these products. You can download them free of charge. All right, so what have we been doing in the past 7 years? We have been making meaningful impact through our capacity building sessions. We've reached over 5,000 people through our breakfast dialogue, through this kind of training sessions that we have. Through our CIC, we've also funded 17 technology-based projects that are making meaningful impact in the society. We also have our podcast, for which we've also been producing series of episodes where we bring change makers in Nigeria, across Africa, who come to talk about what they're doing. So we tell the story of Africans for Africa. We have brought the likes of Zuera Yusufu, who is the CEO of Aliko Dangote Foundation. We have brought the likes of Mosun Layode, who is the Executive Director of African Philanthropy Forum. You can also check out our podcast. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Google Podcasts. It's available on Apple Podcasts. And of course, your popular podcast platforms. Just look for ActPod and you would find it. Yeah, so invariably, like I mentioned before, we have impacted and are continuing to impact communities and people in very, very helpful ways. So we have reached 2.9 million and we're still counting. So far, we have worked with 98 nonprofits across Africa. And of course, in 1,200 communities. Yeah, so this is just showing you a couple of photos from our past interventions. Next, please. Yes, so if you want to connect with us, of course, we're available on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you can find us on YouTube. And definitely, you can reach out to us via our website at actrustfoundation.org. Yeah, okay, so why are we here? We are here to talk about branding. We are here to talk about storytelling. So before we dive into the session proper, let's just break some ice. And I'm going to be asking you, questions, and I would like you to please put in the chat room your responses. So, yeah, so this brand image, when you see this brand image, what comes to your mind? Do you want to tell me what comes to your mind when you see this brand image? Apple.
Apple.
Okay, what about Apple? So what does it tell you? What do you see? So for me, for example, if I see this logo, I know it's a luxury, it's about premium products. So those are the kind of responses I'd like to get, It's not for ordinary people and things like that. Okay, let me look in the chat room. Apple, iPhone, yes. Apple product quality, yes. Apple and the class. Yes, thank you very much, Moses. Class. Someone says they need an iPhone. Receive it. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Someone says designer. Someone says luxury. Somebody ate the apple. Thank you very much for that. Okay. When you see this brand image, what comes to mind? Accessibility, yes. Information. So if you need information, just go to Google. Just like people say, just Google it. Yeah. Someone says search engine. Someone says research. Yes. Technology, browser. My go-to for everything. Yes. If you need anything that you need, just Google it. Search. Google doctor. Connectivity and information. Okay, we go on to the next one. So when you say this, what comes to mind?
Drugs.
Drugs, okay. Wellness, medicines, all right. Next, so that we can quickly move on to us. When you say this, what comes to mind?
Shoes.
Sports.
Shoes, yes, that's the Nike logo, right? Shoes, sports. All right. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So let's dive into our very first session on branding. And to do that, we will be calling on Suziette Agazie, who is a seasoned marketing communications professional. And she's got about 2 decades of experience in this industry. She has demonstrated leadership by guiding teams in both the advertising agencies, the corporate setting, and she has overseen marketing campaigns from inception to its completion. So you know that you are in for it. Suziette has expertise that extends to consulting roles for startups, for SMEs, and not just for profits. She's not just in the for-profit space, she's also in the non-profit space, so you know that she'll be able to address your issues. Sue, as she's fondly known, is currently pursuing a PhD in marketing with a focus on enhancing brand story dramatization. And she also plays a vital role as a trainer and mentor for various non-profits. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to see your emojis in the chat room. Please make welcome Suziette Agazie.
Thank you. Thank you, Abiodun. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here with all of you. And I know you're here because you want to, as some of you said, build your NGOs. You want to impact your NGOs. You want to tell compelling stories. But to start telling that compelling story, you have to build your brand. And that's why I'm going to be the first person to communicate with you today. Give me 1 minute, please. I forgot to put on my charger. Yeah, so where were we? So we're talking about branding. Before we start, because we have just 40 minutes, I'm going to tell you something I always say is the most important aspect of branding. That's what I'm going to teach today. And I believe that once you understand this, you would be able to brand your NGO or your personal brand or your corporation or anything any product or service you are selling, you'll be able to brand it. But before we start on that, let's ask ourselves, what is branding? Let's watch this short video and understand what branding is all about. Thank you. Can we play the video now?
Yes, let's give us a few minutes.
Thank you.
Thomas Edison, the great inventor, was known for his afternoon naps, but he napped in a really curious.
The term branding, people use it interchangeably with logo design, identity design, or even sometimes typography. And maybe we need to set the record straight. I know you're the best person to tell us, what is branding, Marty?
Yeah, so let's start with what branding isn't.
Okay.
It's because it's not a lot of things people say it is. It's not a logo.
Okay.
A logo is a very useful tool for a business, but it's not the brand. It's a symbol for the brand. A brand is not a product. So when people talk about this brand, buying this brand or that brand, they're really talking about buying one product or another product. The brand is not that. People say the brand is a promise the company makes to customers, and there's some truth in that.
Yep.
I mean,
We can't hear the video anymore.
No. Yeah, can't hear again.
No, not anymore.
Okay. I guess we'll start again because the video wasn't showing before.
Just give me a moment. I wonder why it isn't. Let me reshare now.
people
Can
understand
you hear
what
now?
they're doing. So
Yes.
none of those things are really what branding is.
Can hear
A
now.
brand is a result. It's a customer's gut feeling about a product, a service, or a company. It ends up in their heads, in their hearts. They take whatever raw materials you throw at them and they make something out of it. But they're making it, they're creating it. And so in a sense, when you create a brand, you're not creating one brand, you're creating millions of brands, like however many customers or people in your audience. Each one has a different brand of you. So a brand is like a reputation, right? So it's your business reputation, and everyone's going to be a little bit different about what that reputation.
Logo design, people use it interchangeably with.
Okay, so I'm starting from the beginning because some people said they didn't hear it from the beginning. So starting now.
Okay.
With logo design, identity design, or even sometimes typography, and maybe we need to set the record straight. I know you're the best person to tell us, what is branding, Marty?
Yeah, so let's start with what branding isn't.
Okay.
It's because it's not a lot of things people say it is. It's not a logo.
Okay.
A logo is a very useful tool for a business, but it's not the brand. It's a symbol for the brand. A brand is not a product. So when people talk about this brand, buying this brand or that brand, they're really talking about buying one product or another product. The brand is not that. People
Okay, the volume is off again. I think
Okay, I think it's the network.
Okay.
Can we make use of the little information we've had? Probably we'll pay it later on.
Yeah, please, let's keep it. So the next slide. So generally, what that video was trying to say is that a brand is not just your logo. It's not because the logo is a symbol of your brand. It's not any brand identity. It's the thought, the image, your audience, that's your target audience, the people you are communicating to, the thought they have of your NGO. That's your brand. So your brand is not a logo. It's not your color. It's not your merchandise. It's not your staff. But all this are part of what creates your brand in the mind of the individual. And branding is very important because it helps with identification. Just before we started, Abiodun played some games with you. And the first thing you thought of when you see Apple was wealth, luxury, rich people, tech. That's what you perceive of that brand, Apple. But if you look at it in the right sense, an apple is a fruit. But because of the communication and the branding they've done, you see Apple now with that bite mark, and the first thing that comes to your mind is tech, iPod, iPhone, iPad, and luxury. So it helps with your brand personality, because branding is all about the personality of your organization, of your NGO. That's why it's important to understand how to build that brand personality. Because when you understand what your NGO's brand personality is, it is easy for you to communicate your brand, to tell the story of your NGO. And it's easy for someone to replicate your NGO's attributes, because you've given them a personality trait, a human trait that you can use to build your communication, to build your identification. And it helps create, and this helps create trust in your organization, building your reputation. If you see MTN, for instance, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, MTN, they're kind of like somewhat aggressive, but they're bold in their output and all. And as we speak, you will see why MTN plays or builds that impression in your mind, because all these come from what we call the brand personality. And in advertising, we have 12 archetypes. Next slide, please. 12 archetypes that are common that we use in building this brand personality. And I believe if you understand the brand personality, you will be able to differentiate your NGO from other NGOs doing the same thing with you. You'll be able to understand your audience, understand the platform you would find them, understand how to communicate to them on those platforms for them to understand what your NGO is all about, what your NGO stands for, and what your NGO wants to be known for, to help you build your communication clearly, giving you powerful messaging, because once you understand your brand personality, you understand the keywords you should use, you should communicate with, that will build this impression in the minds of your audience. And with that, it builds your image, your NGO's reputation, what your NGO will be known for across your communication channels. And most especially, it will build your reputation, because your NGO will be known for those things. They will be known for those personality traits, and they will be respected. In that way, you build what we call a strong brand. And how do you do this? It's through what we call the archetypes. Next slide, please. Now, in advertising, we have, okay, before that, sorry, I'm jumping. I'm being aware of time, so forgive me. Now, before that, before you go into knowing the 12 archetypes and how to build your brand personality, you need to know these 3 people. And these 3 people is, one, your audience. Who are your audience? Where do you look for them? Where do you find them? And when you know where you find them, what do they listen to? What do they say? How do they perceive you? What do they say about things that you believe in? Now, in doing that, you have to understand that on every platform you would reach out to them, you have to understand how they use that platform. If it's social media, Facebook, who do you find on Facebook? We all know midlifers are on Facebook, because when it started, it was these people that started with it, and they've grown now, and they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s. So when you want to use Facebook to communicate your NGO, you should know who you are talking to there, the midlifers. Now, midlifers, how do you reach out to them? Okay, you need them to donate, because most of them are working, they have money, their earnings. So you know that on Facebook, you preach, you show what your NGO is about, you preach donation. But when you come to Instagram, you think, who are my audience in Instagram? What are they known for? Who are the population there? In Nigeria, we know that the population that use Instagrams a lot are young women, mothers, and mostly people who like social life. So you know that on that platform, you showcase your milestones that you've achieved, your goals that you've achieved. You celebrate achievements that you've done. Pictures, less words. And then when you go on LinkedIn, that's a professional platform. So who are my audience on this platform? These are professionals, probably organizations that you want to partner with, probably people you want to reach out to volunteer, people that need to know what your business, the business side of your NGO is all about. So you talk about your business, you celebrate volunteers, you celebrate staff, you talk about your organizational structures, and not just the social aspects of your business, because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they undo that. But Twitter, again, is another ball game. Who are the audience basically on Twitter? If you're looking at the Nigerian market, you're looking at young people who like to rant, but that's not what you want. But if you look at it further, this is where the international NGOs, the international philanthropists and all are. And so you build your communication to fit that audience. So understanding your audience is also understanding these communication platforms and how they are used. So you know exactly what you are communicating there, the story you are telling there. And after you've understood your audience, who they are, what they do, what they like, what they don't like, the next person that is very important that you should know about is your competition. Yes, we say NGOs are not businesses, so it's not my competition, but you know that you're not the only NGO doing exactly what you're doing. So how do you differentiate yourself from the next NGO, the same thing like you, communicating to women and children, or communicating to the education of children? How do you differentiate yourself? It's very important, because that stands you out, that grows your brand, that makes you unique. And then 2, what are they doing better that you can watch, you can learn from, you can grow from? And most especially, what aren't they doing well that you can improve on and build? And then the last and most important person to know, they're all important, but the most important is knowing you, your NGO. You must understand, what are we here for? What do we want to communicate to people? Why are we doing what we're doing? What is our story? How do we want to tell our story? And all this is built around branding your image, understanding your brand personality. And what's a brand personality? Next slide, please. So the brand personality is built out of 12 archetypes. And it's not, as we said before, it's not your logo. It's not your, please go back. It's not your logo. It's not your colors. It's not your design, but all this helps to build who your brand personality is. And in advertising, in branding generally, there have been 12 known archetypes. We call them archetypes. You don't need to know the intricacies of what an archetype is, but simple put, archetypes are human traits to give a brand. These human traits help us understand how we communicate, how we build the story, how we build the words that we communicate about a brand. These archetypes are characteristics, human characteristics. We give this brand or product or service or organization, in this place, your organization, the NGO, we give them these human traits to be able to build their communication. For instance, if you look at UNICEF, the first thing that comes to your mind without even understanding is UNICEF is probably a woman, a mother in her mid-40s. She loves children, she's caring. She's particular about every child because she wants to help every child. Now that's the human traits given to UNICEF. And so if you bring somebody into UNICEF now to work on UNICEF with that image in their mind, they're able to build the story for UNICEF. Because giving these human traits, you give it up to even the tone of voice. How would the person sound? Would the person always sound confident or shy or simple or friendly? So all these are the human traits you have to give your brand. Next slide, please. Yeah. All these are the traits you have to give your brand, and they are known as the archetypes. Here, it simply puts the archetypes. Please go back. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to manage time. So archetypes are a scientific framework that most love brands use to connect on a human level, because we are humans and we interact as humans using the senses. So giving your brand these characteristics help you build that interaction and that connection with your audience. And we have 12. We have the 12 most common archetypes. Some people build their own archetype, but I always advise that if you don't know much about branding, just stick to these 12, because you have a lot of information about these 12 online. So when you pick one archetype, just go online, read more about it, understand it very well, and use it to build your brand personality. So the first archetype is the ruler. Next slide, please. So the rulers are also known as leaders. Their character is confident, bold, and somewhat aggressive. In Nigeria, MTN plays in the ruler space. That's why you see their models on their ads, always looking up, you know, like, I'm confident, I'm strong, I'm bold. And their colors too, yellow, meaning of yellow is courageous. So for them as a brand, using yellow shows that they are courageous, bold people. Other colors that depict the ruler is purple, because purple is royalty. If you are a prince or a princess or a king or a queen, you're royal, you're a leader, you are bold, you're confident. So when you have that thought in your mind, you build according to that character. because when you're building a brand personality, you have to give them even up to a name. I advise you that sometimes give it a name that is close to your organization's name. So if your organization is like Foundation for Girls, you can call her name Mrs. Fogg. Mrs. Fogg is in her early 30s. She's confident, she's bold, she's a leader. And so when you write with that leadership thought in your mind. Because when you are in that NGO, no more Cecilia or Martha or Victoria. You are now Fogg, Mrs. Fogg. And then when you act as Mrs. Fogg. From your gateman to your cleaner to the CEO, must all understand your brand personality to be able to live this every day of their life once they step into your NGO. So even the gateman will speak boldly, speak confident. Oh, please come in. Or you want to see my boss? Oh, take the steps up and go left. Boldly, with confidence. Because that is your reputation. That is your personality, a ruler. The second archetype is the creator. If there's one brand that's played strongly in the creator, they have two personalities, the creator and a misfit, which we'll learn later, is GT Bank. When GT Bank came to before GT Bank came to Nigeria, almost all the bank's building were painted white. Everybody wore a suit and a shirt. But when GT came, they came with an odd color, orange. Everybody was like, we know white, we know blue, we know red, orange. Even their logo was a box. And everybody was like, okay, what's going on here? And then they did something to show you their brand. They ensured that every branch of GTB did not have the same structure. So if you go to a branch in Victoria Island, the structure, the architectural structure of that bank is different from the branch in Ikoyi. They are all creative to show you that GT Bank is a creative brand. They are innovators. They love self-expression. They are unique. They like creating and innovating. That's why before any bank creates a new technology, GT Bank has created that technology because they are a creator. And creator colors are mostly colors that are optimistic and confident, like orange, navy green. Understanding the meaning of colors also helps your brand. Understanding the meaning of elements in your logo also helps your brand. Understanding how to create your merchandise based on your brand personality also helps your brand, because all this builds your brand's reputation. The third one, the hero. The heroes are warriors. They believe in improving one's ability through courageous acts. That's why you have Nike. Even their swoosh, which is their logo, is a pass mark telling you you're a hero. Come on, you can do it. Just do it. That's their slogan. Just do it. You can. Who said you can't? Because you're disabled and you're in a wheelchair. You can still do it. You can still win that race. You can still swim in that ocean. You can still be who you want to be. That's the hero brand. They push you to believe in yourself, to grow your confidence, to be who you are. And they play with colors that tells this, like yellow. Yellow also means energy, means joy. And white means calm, fearless. And then the fourth archetype. The fourth archetype is the sage. A lot of people play in this sport because the sage means an expert, a wise person. For you to play in this sport, you have to be well known in your industry as an expert. You have to always deliver top-notch information, what people have not seen or what people do not know. You should be a thought leader, someone people can go to for information, like BBC or CNN as sage archetypes, because they go far and wide to give you the information you need, the news you need. So their colors are mostly monochrome. Light and gray colors are monochromic because it reflects the quality of wisdom, knowledge, and insight. The fifth archetype is the rebel. GT Bank plays also in the rebel, but one brand that has killed it here is the Apple. When the Apple came, they were the first, almost the first tech company who didn't have a techie logo. They came with a fruit. Even the fruits for religious people, when they see that fruit, the first thing that used to come to their mind was the Garden of Eden and how the serpent deceived Adam and Eve. So to tell you how rebellious they are, they took that logo and owned it and turned it from the negative to a strong brand known in the tech world. That's a rebel. They are misfits. They are out to disrupt the status quo. Oh, for you, it's a fruit. For us, it's a tech company, a strong tech company. It's no longer a fruit. So they believe rules are meant to be broken to find a solution. And that's Apple. And the colors that reflect this mostly are black, because black is bold, and red, the red that means danger, because they are dangerously courageous. The sixth archetype, the lover. The lover is sweet, loves having a relationship between themselves and other people, or themselves and nature, or themselves and the surrounding. The lovers are also known as partners. They believe in harmony with the people you love, your surroundings, and your environment. A lot of food brands play in the lover, like Cadbury, like Nescafe. You see them even in the image that they create, like the two glass cups kissing each other. That's a lover brand. You see them showing emotions and saying things like, for the moments that matter. That's a romantic statement because they are the lovers. So from words you say, from how you position your images, from the video you create, they must tell your brand personality, because this is how you create that images in the head of people, using the keywords that connect with these brand personalities. And the colors of the lover is the deep red, like the red roses, because it signifies love, and white, because white also signifies pure love. So when you understand colors, I know light blue also plays in the love space. So when you understand the colors, when you give your angel a color, you must be able to say what that color means as it relates to your brand personality and as it relates to your mission and your vision. And this will also bring out the keywords that you will always use in building your communication, because these keywords are what are going to create the impression on the minds of the people out there and say, oh, this is a caring or a lover, because you've already put it in the minds of your audience that you're a lover. So the seventh archetype is the jester. The jester is also a tricky archetype to use. They are like jokers. They rely on their wits to brighten the world. They believe that, why be serious? Fanta says, more Fanta, less serious. That's why you see them bubbly, even in the adverts. If you remember one advert that ran a long time ago of that principal that was very stern and angry with the children misbehaving. Well, as soon as they gave her a Fanta, she drank it. She started dancing and smiling. That's a jester. The jester believes that the world shouldn't be taken so seriously, that they try to make the world a fun place for everyone. And they use colors like yellow, because yellow is cheerful, it brings joy. Generally bright colors like orange. So you see Fanta is yellow, and then they play with yellow and orange in most of the designs they create, even though they put a touch of other colors. And if you ask them, all the colors have a meaning, and it ties to their brand personality. The eighth, they mostly make you feel out of this world. Like if you could do things that you can't. So when you think of a magician, they do abracadabra and they change something impossible to possible. That's the magician brand. Like Red Bull. Red Bull says Red Bull gives you wings. We know that if you like, drink 100 Red Bull, you will not have wings. But just the thought that if you drink a Red Bull, you would have wings, you would believe that you can do anything. It drives you to go out and achieve something. And If I ask any of you now, if you look at Red Bull, what comes to mind? Some of you will say extreme sport. I remember one time in Lagos, I believe everybody's above 8, forgive me, but I won't be so vulgar. But I remember one time in Lagos when Red Bull was raining, you will notice that a lot of men were drinking Red Bulls because they believed that it would give them stamina. Why? Because Red Bull has communicated that if you drink Red Bull, you have stamina, you go all night, you go all day, you can even go all week. But that's not true. That's the magician. And their colors are usually red because believing in fairy tales or out of this world kind of thinking drives passion and desire. And then black, because black means power and sophistication. The 9th archetype. The 9th archetype, please. The caregiver. A lot of NGO plays in this spot. Because, yes, anyway, NGO means care. Care for people, care for children, care for the world around us. So the caregivers are the helpers. They're happiest when making a difference in someone else's life. As I said, most NGOs fall in the caregiver, UNICEF being one of them. You can see from the pictures they show, you can see the love between the boy and the girl, how he puts his arm around the girl to show care, to show warmth, to show love. Even their logo shows that care. The mother raising up a child with love and affection, that's care. And then even their slogan, for every child, means they care for every child. And this is evidence also in their logo, in that leaf that goes like this. That's the Roman season's crown, means royalty. And then the globe with the latitude and longitude means anywhere in the world, we care for every child. So you should understand that your brand personality defines your logo. It defines your slogan. It defines your mission, your vision. You must understand how you use it to identify your keywords, to build your communication. There is no communication UNICEF puts out there that they will not put for every child because that's their #1 keyword. So vaccination for every child, education for every child, health for every child. And their color is turquoise blue, which means protection and loyalty. And then white, purity and peace. The 10th. Yeah, that's every child. The 10th is innocent. Yeah. The 10th is innocent. Before the innocent, Coca-Cola used to play in the lover space. That's why if you remember a long time ago, they had this shape that looked like the shape of a woman, but it's actually 2 faces coming together. But now they play in the innocent because the innocents are like saints. They are truthful in their search for happiness. That's why Coca-Cola will tell you, open a Coke, open happiness. Because they believe that the world can, if you drink a Coke, they believe that you've opened a world of happiness. And yeah, somehow it's like that because even with their advertising, they've made us feel that once you open a Coke and you're tired and you drink, you feel refreshed, you feel happy. Their colors are usually, the colors of an innocence usually blue because it means strength, it means trust, and white, purity, innocence. But Coke used red because remember they played in the space of the lover, then white for purity and pure love. Anyway, so open happiness to your next drink of a bottle of Coke. Number 11. So 11 is also another tricky archetype because archetype is called every man or every woman. Some say the neighbor next door because you are creating for everybody. And so it's tricky because it's not definite like the other archetypes. It can be tricky. You can mistakenly slide into the other archetypes. But it's again the most simplest archetype because you don't need to do so much to create an impression. And most e-commerce companies like Jumia play in this spot because you're addressing everybody and just talk plainly. So they're also known as a good neighbor. They like to connect with others in a simple way. Colors like green, which means vegetation, fertility, are good every man and woman archetype colors, and blue-green, which is the color of the sea, which means cool and calmness. And the last but not the least is the explorer. I like to say I'm an explorer brand. Yes, because you can brand yourself. I believe you heard of personal branding. So explorer brands are seekers. They want to go to new places and discover new lands. They always thirst for knowledge. They want to know more because they believe that knowledge can make the world a better place. They like to escape from boredom and find themselves in different settings. Most SUV brands play in the Explorer, like the Jeep, and they say things like, you have arrived, but you still have places to go. There's not a final destination. Or they will tell you something like, you can go anywhere, climb any mountain. Those are Explorer brands. Colors mostly of Explorer brands are silver. Please go by silver, which means mystery, or purple, which also means adventure, depending on the shade of purple. Now to our activity. Based on the archetype you'll be shared into, because you all will be shared into 12 rooms, and the rooms will be labeled by the archetype that you'll be working on. So based on that archetype, you have to do these 5 things. 1, give it a new name, as in you people are creating a new NGO. So based on that archetype, you will create a name, whether you want to use a local name, English name, or acronyms, left to you. But when you create it, you will explain to us how that name fits that archetype. You will pick 1 or 2 colors and tell us the meaning, how they fit into the archetype. Google is your friend. Abiodun just told us. You want any information? Google it. Then define the elements of your logo. We're not saying create a logo now. Just say the logo we have this element and that element, and it means this and that. And then you give it a human character and say, okay, based on this archetype, this is our brand personality. It's a male or female or non-binary. Its age is so. The tone of voice is so. The characteristics is so. And then you give it 3 keywords and say, based on these archetypes, these are the 3 keywords we'll use often when we are writing the communication for this brand. And we have 10 minutes to do this. Once we do it and we come back here, pick a volunteer from your team. We'll pick at random who can speak, because I'm very sure all of us can't speak due to time, but we'll pick at random a team to speak. And when we pick you, that person that's speaking for your team will tell us these 5 things based on your archetype. I hope we're ready.
Everyone. I hope your session was engaging enough. All right, Suziette, over to you.
Okay, now, I hope everyone was able to do something. I know the time was short, but I hope you have something to share now. I will start with asking, does any group want to volunteer to be the first person to talk? Just raise your hands and we'll pick. Okay. Ima, over to you. You can unmute and speak. Tell us the archetype you belong to, and then the name of your new NGO, and answer to all the questions.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sorry, Emma. Sorry to break you. Suziette, can you please check your message?
Okay.
Please go ahead, Emma.
Okay, so amazing. Maybe you are hearing a male voice, but it's Emma's laptop. I belong to the archetype of jester, so we agreed that our NGO will be called Poker Foundation. We said poker. Why poker? Because we are jester. For the colors, we decided to go with orange and white. Then For the defining elements, we said we'll use cards. Then for number 4, it was about what? Number 4, we decided on the gender as male. Then our keywords were game, laughter, and winning. Thank you.
So what's your NGO about?
So our NGO is about playing cards. We want to play cards, and then we want to win. We want to have a good game. We want to win, and we want to have laughter. So it was just more of thinking outside the box.
Anyway,
yeah, our NGO is focused on giving people a reason to laugh through games, and also rewarding them in the process. So yes,
that's fantastic. That's a really good effort. Despite the time, that's a really good effort. I hope everyone understands now how to use archetypes to create their brand. Because when you understand how to build this brand personality, it will be easy for you to create a brand. Unfortunately, time has run out. I think we'll take the questions after the second speaker. So just Oyebisi and when just know that after the second speaker speaks, some of you will talk about your own archetype. But now, I welcome Adaobi. Thank you all for your time.
All right, so our second facilitator is Adaobi Oniwinde. She is the founder of Syntest Inc., a US-based consulting firm that specializes in strategic communication, content creation, and advocacy. Adaobi has over 25 years of experience working in corporate communication, which began in Clinton White House. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Adaobi with 25 years expertise, where she has worked in Clinton White House. Her career has included public relations with Rogers and Cohen in Los Angeles, editorial services at Foreign Policy magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Adaobi Oniwinde.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Can people hear and see me okay?
Yeah, we can hear and see you.
Yes, we can hear and see you.
Thank you.
Happy to see you.
First of all, thank you. I'd like to first of all thank Suziette for a very engaging session. It was very practical. I took great notes. I'm going to use my 40 minutes to do something a little bit different. So you've seen who I am on paper. I'll just introduce myself as a storyteller, because I think that the thing that I do now isn't really even in my profile. So my name is Adaobi Oniwinde, and I'm a storyteller. I'm not a storyteller because I have a bachelor's degree in print journalism. I'm also not a storyteller because I have a master's in broadcast and international affairs. I'm not even a storyteller because I've spent over 20 years in internal and external communications and reputation management, doing communications work for pretty big brands. I'm a storyteller because I have, for the past 7-8 years now, been intentional about making human connections. I've been intentional about connections that have compelled people to tell me stories that I think have turned into some pretty phenomenal stories. So I think when I think of all of you and the work that you do, I think we're all quite adept with the principles, the P's of storytelling, we know the theory. But I think that for a lot of us, the basics, the actual physical verb of storytelling, I think we get lost when it comes to the actual verb of storytelling. We know the theory, but I think the practical is where a lot of us get stuck. So I've spent the last 2 years or so running workshops. And what I'd like to use my 40 minutes, or I think we have less than 40 minutes now, doing is to do a condensed version of the workshops that I run on storytelling. I have a slide on the first exercise. Can we get the 3 truths and a lie slide, please? Can people still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So we're just going to jump into actual exercises, and this is going to be very interactive, less theory and more practical. So we're going to do 2 exercises. The first exercise is called 3 truths and a lie, right? So I will do the first one, then we're going to go back to the breakout rooms that Suzette's session had already created, and we'll do this in 5 minutes. So I'm going to tell you 4 things about myself. 3 of them are true and 1 is a lie. And I'll have 1 or 2 people guess which is the lie. So first thing is that I walk 5 miles every day, except Sundays. Second thing is I spent time at a penguin colony in Antarctica. The third thing is that I've lived on or visited every continent. And the 4th thing is that I ran a marathon on the Great Wall of China. Everybody can see the slide, correct?
Yes, we can.
So I'm going to go into the participant list and randomly, thank you. I'm going to randomly call on 2 people from the participant list, and you guys are going to guess the lie. Okay. Yetunde Daramola, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Yetunde. Hello.
Hi. Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
Can you guess the lie?
Okay, so I think, sorry, just a minute. I think the lie would be spend time at a penguin colony in Antarctica. Oh, God.
That's actually true. Okay. Thank you for agreeing to do this and being put on the spot. Moses Ona, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. Good morning, ma'am.
Hi,
Or
Moses.
good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Morning. How are
Yes,
you?
fine.
Thanks for being gracious. Do you want to guess the lie?
Yes, I think number 2, because looking through what we have here, you walk 5 miles every day, which is normal. You can't spend, time in at the penguin colony in Antarctica and still live in maybe or visited every continent or run a marathon on the Great Wall of China. So to me, number 2 is a lie.
Thank you. I like the way you broke that down, but that's actually incorrect.
Wow.
I have spent time at a penguin colony in Antarctica. I've lived and visited every single continent. And I have run a marathon on the Great Wall of China. The lie is that I walk 5 miles every day, except Sundays. I'm a walker, but I don't walk 5 miles every day. So thank you. The point of that exercise, it's a bit of an icebreaker. Just on this very small exercise and these 4 things that I shared with you, I think most of you, if you were asked to write a paragraph about me, you'd have enough to write a story or tell a story, correct? Okay. So without much ado, your turn. I'd like us to go back into the same breakout rooms if we have them still available. Hosts, do we have the breakout rooms still set?
Yes, they are, although I've changed some people, so you might not be with the same group you were before, but everybody can move into rooms now.
Perfect. So let's all move into rooms. We're going to do this in, we'll do this fairly quickly. I think we have, what did we assign, 5 or 10 minutes?
10. We have 10 minutes.
Assigned 10 minutes. So,
yes.
So the instructions for this, guys, is exactly what I just did. We're all going to write down 4 facts about ourselves, and then people are going to, we'll call on maybe 3 or 4 people, depending on time, and we will guess which is the lie. And this is just a way of getting comfortable. Are we good?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Although some people are still in their room because we have like 60 seconds left for it to kick them out. So some people might still be in the room. Close story.
So should we give people another minute
and
to
we
come
are back?
We're all back. Everyone's back.
All right, Adaobi, over to you.
Can you guys hear me? Super. So we're back. So how did that go? People can talk in the chat rooms for a couple of seconds. What I would like to do is share maybe two. We'll do two. I will just volunteer two rooms can do this. So I can either pick, or people can just raise their hands and share one story from their room. What's easier? So Victoria Okewale said it was fun. So I'm going to volunteer you, Victoria, to do the exercise from your room. Victoria? Your comment was that the exercise was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like you to share one story, share one example from your participants.
Okay, so what's her name? Ade Nolakwa said she loves swimming, and she said a few things that were kind of similar, and everybody could not get it right. It was really tricky, and it was fun because when we started talking about it, we were like, okay, this seems to be right, but it was actually that she loves swimming. She could not swim at all. That was fun. Other people also mentioned what. Yes, I think, yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Ngozi Chukwuka said it was an interesting conversation. Ngozi, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hi. You said it was an interesting conversation.
Yes, it was actually
share?
Yes, it was actually interesting because for everyone in our group, the rulers group, you know, we were able to identify the lie in every case scenario that was presented to us.
Oh, wow.
And so my apologies to my group. Let me share mine.
Okay.
For mine, I gave them three were truths and one was a lie. One, I'm an environmentalist, developed the water hyacinth biological treatment plants for wastewater and sewage sludge for several private universities in Nigeria. And then I've been to several nations, and I scuba. I'm among the girls that scuba.
Okay, so can anyone guess the lie?
Most likely from my group, someone from my group.
Someone from your group, okay. You can either type it in the chat box or raise your hand and tell us the lie.
Mojisola Animashanwu is in my group.
Okay.
She doesn't scuba. She scubas. That was the lie.
Okay.
And we got it.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, for everyone who didn't get to do this, I'm going to apologize, but it sounds like there was good interaction in your rooms. And the reason why I do this exercise first is to get people comfortable speaking and to get people comfortable telling stories. And I think we accomplished that based on some of your comments. So thank you for that. We're going to very quickly go into the second exercise, which is a longer exercise. So where is the slide, host? Can we get instructions for the second exercise, please? Fantastic. So I think it'll be hard to pair up. And since we already have the rooms set up, why don't we go back to the same rooms? And we're going to have a 10-minute conversation amongst, so when I do this in my workshop, it's usually a pair, but because of the rooms we've already set up and the format here, why don't we go back into our rooms and have a 10-minute conversation amongst yourselves, and then one person is going to tell another person's story, right? So you go back into your rooms, talk for 10 minutes, and then we're all going to come back and we're going to have one person present for each group. And we'll do this, I know we have about 15 minutes left, but we'll do as many as we can. Are the instructions clear? If they're not, just type in the chat box.
Okay.
So this is a practical now. We're actually going to be interviewers and storytellers, right? So go back into the chat rooms, have a 10-minute conversation about anything, preferably not about work actually, but I want us all to come back and somebody from each group is going to tell an interesting story about somebody in the room. Are we clear?
I'm sorry, can you go right again? People are saying they don't understand.
Sure. Okay. So typically we would do this in pairs, right? But because of the number of people on the call, and because of the fact that we've actually set up chat rooms, I know there are multiple people in a chat room. So let's spend 10 minutes just talking amongst ourselves. You guys will have to be creative. Maybe one person agrees to tell their story. The rest of you will listen to someone's story, and then somebody will report out and give us like a 2-minute or 3-minute presentation on what they've learned about the person. Is that clear?
Ada, can I contribute here?
Sure.
I just want to make a suggestion. Since the rooms are labeled, can they just create a story based on that archetype of the room they are in? So it's easy for them to create a story, because since we have a lot of people, if they try to tell each of them try to tell their story, it might take more time.
So that's a good idea, actually. But the point of the exercise is that we're telling stories based on mundane activities. We're just trying to, so not everybody is able to get up and tell a story, right? And what we're trying to say here is that we are all storytellers. And some of the best stories come out.
Okay, I've opened the room and people are going into their rooms already.
Time does fly when you're having fun. Okay. So we've sort of made this up as we went along. I'll share what we did in our group. I don't know how much time we have. The clock says we have 3 minutes till the end of the session, but if we can do an additional 5, that would be good. Hosts, do we have an extra 5 minutes maybe?
Yes.
Do we have a hard stop at 11?
Yes.
Okay. So what we did in my group, 2 people had a conversation, just getting to know each other. And then we asked, I threw a spanner in the wheel that sort of led the conversation in a different direction. So somebody from our group is going to present in no more than 2 minutes, Ebuka, on how the conversation went and what you learned from that exercise. So Ebuka, from my team.
Thank you so much. From just our group, we had 2 amazing people who talked extensively about what they like and who they are. They weren't very specific or inclined to work, so just like a normal conversation. And from there, I could learn that between Lovett and Kelechi, both of them are Igbos. This is something they have in common. However, Lovett is someone that is more restricted in our exploration in foods, while Kelechi is someone that likes to try new stuff. So you can imagine that one of them is very conversant with eating amala and ewedu, while the other is yet to try it because of, and so Lovett is also lactose intolerant. So this is why she doesn't like ice cream. But Kelechi does, and both of them love movies, but they rather see it in different places. At least Lovett prefers to see movies in her house because it allows her to rest, do other things, multitask. Why Kelechi is someone who enjoys going to the cinema, but sometimes could also see movies in the house. So these amazing women have some things in common, but they also have different worldviews and approach to all of these things. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. We're going to come back to this, but in the interest of time, I'd like to hear from another group. Is anybody willing to volunteer, or can I just pick someone randomly?
Abdulrazak's hand is down. He's up.
Abdulrazak, were you my team?
No.
Okay. Hi.
Yes. So I'm in the creators group.
Fantastic.
And so I moderated the conversation between Mr. Karonwi and Temitope. So they were both to share their story. So the both of them shared a story, and one thing that the story had in common was the story of how a transition from childhood to adulthood, how some of the decisions of being a child influence what they do now. For Mr. Karonwi, his own case was when in the story he shared was of a child who followed his father to a place, and in that place it was an empty hall, and that when he says something, it was a warehouse. The moment he says something, it echoes back. Anytime he says something, it echoes back. And the father now has to say, okay, fine, why not change what you're saying so that once you say this, it will echo. If you're saying good, it echoes good to you. So that's for Mr. Karonwi. For Temitope on our own end, our story was a typical story of every Nigerian who were made to believe that medicine and that is a big professions. We're the best professions of the world. Even when she had some flair for art in it, so she had to, because you're too intelligent, you have to do medicine. So she went to the science class, and she went into the university with that same mindset, but she couldn't transition. But to avoid that, she's now giving our own children the opportunity to explore, to do something new for themselves and be based on our own experience. So these two were stories of childhood and how it actually transformed and influenced what the current decisions are now. So that's what we had from our story, from our group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. In the interest of time, we're going to do one more. Any volunteers, or should I pick someone who's dying to tell a story?
Okay, my name is Mudupe, and I would like to volunteer. Okay. I'm from Flora Group. So Joy Onuku shared her story. She's a physiotherapist. And then after her youth service, she was posted. She got a job with Lutz. And then on getting there, what she met there was far from our expectation. Our reality and an expectation were two different things. The pay was nothing to write home about, the work condition, environmental condition, and all of that. So herself and her husband decided that, hey, two of us can be in paid employment, which made her to start her own business. And now, as a physiotherapist, she's able to attend to her clients very well. She's more in their life, and then she can literally hold their hands to help them heal. So she's enjoying herself, and she has more time on her hands, and she feels fulfilled. And then we had another person. She joined with another person's link anyway. So when we were calling the name on the link, she wasn't responding because it wasn't registered in her subconscious that this is the name of the person's laptop she registered with. So she had to apologize to us. And then we decided that, well, anyway, it's a story in itself. So her name is Temitope Akinrotimi. She runs an NGO called Beyond Borders Foundation for young children from northern Nigeria. They bring them out from their place to the city to help them with skill acquisition and education. So surprisingly, she said within a year that you'll be shocked at a child of 15 years old that started GS1. Within a year, you'll be shocked at how far they've gone, how their lives have changed, and then she's really making impacts, which is a wonderful thing. So that's basically stories that was shared in our group.
Fantastic. So first of all, let me thank all of you for being active listeners and for being great storytellers. The point of this exercise, when I do this in my workshops, I actually say that nobody should talk about work, talk about anything but work. And the point of this exercise is to get people comfortable. If you're able to tell your story, if you're able to tell a story about something that's important to you, impacts you, interests you, then that's a building block. If you're able to tell the stories about things that you have experienced and you are interested in and things that affect you, then telling a brand story, I think, should come more naturally. So we are all storytellers, whether you're talking about the kind of food you like, or you're talking about the impact you're having in society. The ease with which you tell your story is actually what brings you the reaction, the funding, whatever it is that you want to grow your business or your brand. So what we try to do here is condense a half-day session in 40 minutes. I want to commend all of you for doing this really effectively. I'm available to do this with people individually and as groups. But I hope what you got out of this was a very practical exercise in actually telling stories. So thank you. I appreciate your time. I know people have dropped off. I don't know how much time we have. Do we have time for questions from Suziette and my sessions? Perfect. Okay.
Yes, you have 5 minutes for your questions.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Please, if you have questions, kindly use the raise hand button or type in the chat room. Okay, I can see Nkiruka's hand up. So Nkiruka, please kindly go first with your question. Please state your question in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma'am Adaobi, for the section. So whenever I see opportunity or training on storytelling, I love joining because I really want to understand the processes or the steps or the structure of storytelling. So yes, as much as I like to be detailed in whatever I do in terms of sharing my stories or conversations or explanation on anything, I still find out that there's still something missing. Like sometimes when you're telling your story to someone, there's this part that gets them bored, or this part that makes them feel like you're talking too much. Just go straight to the point. So at what time do you make use of storytelling? At what time, or how do you know that you're giving out too much information, or what are the structures in storytelling, so that it will be able to help me to know how to structure my storytelling next time, probably in writing, which when it comes to writing, I'm usually afraid because of things like this, because I don't know when I'm giving too much of information. I don't know when I'm writing the right, and I don't even know when I'm even saying the right thing to this particular set of people. So I want to really know, what are the structures, what are the enough in a storytelling, and what are the best way you can put your story and still out there and still communicate the intention of your story to your audience?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. So what we did today was actually just telling personal stories as a way of getting comfortable in talking about storytelling. But there are elements to storytelling. There's so many different formats. So if you're telling a story, there's one I like to use is the 5 Ps of storytelling, which is people, places, pictures, platform, and the personal. And I think in whatever structure you use.
Please, can you say that again?
So the 5 Ps, there's so many different structures, but I like the 5 Ps of storytelling: people, places, pictures, platforms, and the personal. That's one of many, right? But I think the most important thing, first of all, is understanding your audience. Who are you talking to? What is the point of even the conversation? So understanding your audience, understanding what your audience is reacting to, obviously understanding your business, understanding what it is that you need to communicate in most times a short period of time. So you talked about not knowing when it's too much or not enough. And I think compelling storytelling, it becomes kind of organic, right? If you have an objective in mind, and I'll give you a perfect example. When I was reputation manager working in the Netherlands for Shell, one of the bane of my existence then was reputation management. And what I found was, if I made a connection with someone, say I'm in an Uber, for example, I make a connection with an Uber driver, we talk about anything, their kids, what brought them to England, what they're going through in life. At the end of the conversation, what I've done is I've made a personal connection with this person, right? And once you make that personal connection, people always say to me, God, are you a therapist? What do you do for a living? I was like, no, I work for Shell. And they're like, wow, you work for Shell? But what I've done is I've made a personal connection with my audience. And once that personal connection is made, so understanding your audience is critical. Once you've made a personal connection with your audience, what you now communicate, I think, comes quite naturally and a lot easier. Was that helpful?
Yes, very well. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
So for the purpose
of
this session, we didn't go into elements of storytelling. I just actually wanted us to do the physical storytelling, but that's another session.
Okay.
Thank you for that question.
Yes. So I'll go to the chat room to ask a question, then I'll come back to the raised hands. Okay, so Rebecca is asking, I know Rebecca, your hand is up. She's asking, please tell us the importance of framing in storytelling. Did you get that?
No, sorry. The importance of...
Okay, Rebecca, do you want to unmute yourself to speak, because your question is a bit incomplete?
Yes, please. Thank you for this session. So I'm asking for you to tell us the importance of framing as in the words that you use, because you just mentioned these 5 P's, and it actually speaks to the thing about framing, like the things that you say in some spaces, the spaces places where you can. So I just thought that if you could elaborate on that, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. So again, understanding your audience, understanding who it is you are talking to, and understanding what messages you want to communicate. Some people, depending on sector, depending on generation, some people are easier reached on social media, for example, right? The way you would communicate on social media is very different from how you would communicate, say, in a speech or in a written piece of communication. So I think the most important thing is first understanding who you are talking to, being clear in what you are trying to communicate. So I always start with the personal, right? I want people to sort of like me first, want to have a conversation with me first. You do that very quickly, you establish a relationship very quickly, and then you go into the meat of what it is that you want people to hear. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Rebecca, I hope
thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I'll go to the raise hand feature using the first person I'm seeing, Abdulrazak. Please unmute yourself to ask your question. Please, 1 minute to state your question. Thank you. Okay. Abdulrazak.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. So I actually wanted to ask a very brief question. So recently, my organization, we had to do an infomercial, a video infomercial to tell our story. So, and in the course of that, we actually now trying to look at what exactly as a kind of story we want to tell. Is it a story of how the organization started, or possibly the impact story of the beneficiaries? So we actually had that particular, so we're actually a crossroad in doing that. So in terms of trying to tell a brand story, so which one goes first? The vision behind the organization, or possibly the impacts from the lens of the beneficiaries?
That's a great question. So when you say which one goes first, are you asking if you're telling a complete story, are you asking in the format, what do you want to address first? Is that the question?
Yes. So in terms of trying to have possibly a video clip of about 6 to 10 minutes. So which
Okay.
one goes first? Yeah.
By the way, 6 to 10 minutes is a long time for a video, for an infomercial. So depending on who, so what is the business? What is your business? What service are you providing? Who are your customers? Those are the first questions I would ask. So what is the point? Why are you trying to do the video in the first place?
So our goal is to get more partners to come partner with us. Yes, so that's our cause. That's our CTA. Our call to action is to get more partners to come see what we've done and see how they can actually come so that we can scale. So that's it. So we're doing employability training for young people. So these are our beneficiaries. So, and we provide them with skills. So that's exactly what we are doing. So the unemployed young people are our beneficiaries. So then the targets are corporate bodies and donor organizations who might want to support such kind of initiative. So that's our target.
Excellent. So this is what I call a classic show me, don't tell me, right? You talked about beneficiaries, you've talked about impact, you've talked about the fact that you want partners who I'm assuming will provide additional funding to do this amazing work that you are doing. So if I was heading that project, I think the most compelling story to tell would be to use the beneficiaries to tell that story. So you identify beneficiaries who are, who have a compelling story to tell, where you've had the most impact, and let them tell the story as opposed to you, the brand, telling the story. So using your impact and using your people, as it were, to tell a story. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'd be more interested in seeing an infomercial where the service you're providing is having an impact on people's lives, as opposed to giving me the history of your organization. You'd get my money if I could see what the work that you are doing is, as opposed to the history of who you are and what you do, which is important, but it's not, if you do a 10-minute video, that's barely a minute and a half. The real story is the verb, the work, the service, and the beneficiaries. Does that help?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Adaobi, for that beautiful response. Okay, so we'll take just 2 more questions. We can't take all questions right now. Please, you can drop them in the chat room. We can respond to you by email. Please, you can drop your question in the chat room. But we'll only take 2, and that is Dr. Alao and Babatunde. Those are the 2 we'll be able to take. Suziette, please, you can chime in places where you think it's. So Dr. Alao.
I have a quick question for Ms. Adaobi. I'm based in the US and I just simply want your contact information because I think you may be able to help me with my storytelling.
Sure, thank you. Nice to meet you online. I've just put my email address in the chat group, and I also put my telephone number for those who.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, all right, thank you. Babatunde.
Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I joined late, about 20 minutes ago, but at least I've been able to get value for joining this. Yes, madam, my question is this: what is the importance of storytelling to my brand or to a brand? The importance or the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So depending on what your brand is, are you a for-profit making brand? Are you selling stuff? Are you looking for partners to provide funding to do stuff? What is your brand, first of all? So understanding what is the reason for your brand's existence, first of all. Let's understand that. And then once you are clear in your mind what your goals are, if you are trying to, say, form partnerships or get additional funding for stuff, in today's world where budgets are being cut, the people who are going to get money are the people who can tell the most compelling story. So the days of spreadsheets, and long documentaries and long PowerPoint presentations are gone. You need to get your audience in 2 to 3 minutes max. So depending on what service you are providing or what service you are hoping to provide and what you want, I think that'll help you understand the kind of stories that you need to tell. Does that help?
Yes, yes, but okay. I need more. I want to know. I need more benefits, more importance.
Okay. Yes, sorry about Sunday. We won't be able to expatiate more. Please drop the question you want to ask right now. Please drop it to the chat room. We won't be able to answer all your questions, but please just drop it in the chat room. She can definitely type in the chat room to answer your question. So I will take Moses because Dr. Alao's contribution was not a question. Okay, I can't see his hand raised anymore, I guess.
All right.
Okay, Moses.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear me.
Sorry, guys, can I interrupt very quickly if you don't mind?
Thank you very much.
If you don't mind me interrupting, I have a hard stop that's passed. So what I'd like to do is collect a bunch of questions, either through the hosts. I've put my phone number and my email in the chat box as well, if people want to contact me directly. So I can take one more, and then we can do the rest offline, if that's okay. We're 21 minutes past my time to get off the call. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I just want to quickly ask this question that if, for instance, I'm to be engaged in the UNICEF project with at least
sorry, Moses, we can't hear your question clearly.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Okay, it's better.
Okay, so if I am to be engaged, for instance, in a UNICEF project of treating children with moderate acute malnutrition, and let's say the target audience is like 3,000, I'm to reach 3,000 children. Like how many stories am I expected to bring out of these target audiences that have been posed with? Then secondly, we know the regular routine will be giving them, let's say, for instance, a ready-to-use therapeutic food. And it's a regular thing that majority of my audiences will be getting as a treatment measure. Are there like techniques or ways or measures I need to take to capture unique stories or tell more compelling stories since the routine is like a regular routine? Thank you.
You're very welcome, Moses. So excellent questions. Again, I don't think this is not a 5-minute response. One of the questions you asked was how many stories? Again, I guess I would have to understand fully what the project is, what the deliverables are, timelines. I'm happy to talk offline with you and sort of help you put together a program or a strategy for storytelling if you want to do that. But I think it's a very it's not something I can answer in 5 minutes. But certainly the question around how many stories. That all depends. What is your timeline? What is your goal? You talked about UNICEF and the measures. So how do you? I think one of the questions you asked is how do you measure, I guess, success or reach? I think that's a more in-depth conversation I'm very happy to have with you offline.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Is that okay?
Adaobi. Yeah,
okay.
I guess it's okay. Moses, you can send your question. We'll drop an email for you to send your question to. And in case you have other questions also, please send your questions to that email address. We'll definitely forward it to Ms. Adaobi and Ms. Suziette for them to answer the question. They will definitely respond to your question pertaining to branding or storytelling. Because of time constraint, we can't go more than this. We are meant to finish this at 1 o'clock, but we've extended a bit, and we want to ensure that we can keep everybody together and ensure we finish in good time. Thank you very much. A very big thank you to our facilitators. Please, can you give them your best emoji to thank them for their time? I'm quite sure that we all enjoyed our time here, even though we could not answer all your questions. Thank you very much for dropping your best emoji. And we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for taking our time to speak to us about branding and storytelling. It was such an interesting and interactive session. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right. To do one last thing, please, can you put on your cameras? Let's put in our cameras. Let's see your beautiful faces. We just want to take a snapshot of our faces. Please still mute yourself, or we'll definitely take a screenshot of your faces. I'm waiting for us to the cameras, and okay, I can see our beautiful faces. It's great to see our faces. All right, please put on your best smile. Okay. Yeah. Okay, just give me a minute. I want to capture every other person's face. All right, thank you very much. We've come to the end of this beautiful session, but before we do that, we have one last thing. Please, we have a survey coming up once we log out of this session. We have a survey that will pop up. Please kindly ensure that you complete it. We have a gift for the person that completes. Please, we have a little gift for. Please kindly ensure that you fill in the survey, because the survey will help us to serve you better, to know what content or what training topic to bring to you again. So to take us on the closing, I will call on our finance manager, Mr. Gogo Erapotobo. Mr. Gogo.
Thank you, Temitope. And thank you, everybody, for attending this wonderful knowledge series. I want to thank our facilitators especially for taking out time to, help us do this. And all of you who, out of your busy schedules, you came, when we called on you. The reason we are here is because you are there. So we don't take your time for granted. We really appreciate your time. We encourage you that, read our emails when we send our newsletters, when we send, any information, because we do this regularly. We have a lot of training before the year, and we are still coming up with, other ones, and we have conferences. Watch our space. We have very interesting things for you. We are very sure that you have learned one or two things that will help you, in your organization, things that you can implement immediately. So on behalf of the entire ACT Foundation team, from our board to everybody, we are glad to have you. We say thank you, and we ask that you have the best of the day ahead. Thank you so much.
Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation is tackling Africa's challenges, one non-profit at a time. The numbers are staggering but real, ranging from health to entrepreneurship, leadership, and the environment. The impact has been far-reaching, touching lives in all 36 states of the Nigerian Federation and 8 other countries in Africa. And it's taking 5 years. When ACT Foundation took off in 2016, we leveraged relationships to create compelling social impact solutions across Africa by supporting initiatives capable of unleashing beneficiaries' potential towards building sustainable African societies through a combination of grant making, enterprise interventions, innovation challenges, support programs, guided conversations, and philanthropy. ACT Foundation has ramped up social impact in accelerated fashion, leaving a long trail of social influence in its wake. At ACT Foundation, we seek to promote broad-based participation and partnership with other institutions and organizations aimed at building sustainable communities that provide innovative solutions to social, economic, and environmental challenges. ACT Foundation is guided by the principles of communal support that is practiced for generations in Africa. Across the shores of Africa, we have gone the extra mile to inspire numerous people to dream big and to make a significant difference in their environment. The success of our exploits can be confirmed by the countless lives we have touched and the communities we have impacted across Africa. Over the last 5 years, ACT Foundation has been generating social impact in African communities, and we are motivated to do more.
Hello everyone, my name is Josiah and I'm the CEO of Aspire Coalition Trust Foundation, ACT Foundation. ACT is celebrating 5 years of social impact. I am excited and truly and proud about our remarkable journey as an African indigenous grant-making organization. Our accomplishments over the last 5 years remain phenomenal to me, the board, and the rest of our foundation. Being able to positively impact over 811 communities in Africa by promoting initiatives across focus areas through grants, through networking and capacity strengthening. So as ACT celebrates 5 years, I would like to say congratulations to you, to me, and to everyone at ACT Foundation. It's been an amazing, wonderful experience, providing solutions and achieving sustainable development for Africa.